Millions of people get state pension forecasts from the Department for Work and Pensions and rely on their accuracy when planning their finances in retirement. This week, a reader flags up a case where her husband's forecast was wrong and calls on This Is Money's pensions columnist, Steve Webb, to warn others their statements might be incorrect. Read full details of David and Kim DeBill's case and what the DWP said about the accuracy of forecasts here. My husband asked for a state pension statement last year and was advised he had a shortfall, having contributed for only 28 out of the 35 years. We knew we wouldn't have the funds to make up the shortfall until this year. Last week we called the Department for Work and Pensions to arrange to make up some of the contributions. They told us we would have to have a revised statement, which arrived this morning and showed he would receive £127.64 a week on a 28 years basis, but that if he started to contribute Class 3 as he is not employed, he could increase this to £145.87. We rang for the third time today to arrange this and to also make up past years as detailed on the state pension information website, but have been told that as he had contracted out during his employment history, the information in the forecast was incorrect and they would have to do a manual calculation which would take 5 to 6 weeks. The gentleman said that on receipt of this revised forecast we should then ring again to see what we can do to make up any shortfall. He said they had raised the issue about the computer churning out incorrect forecasts with HMRC, but there is no warning on the forecast to say the figures aren't or may not be correct. Can you help bring this to your readers' attention, please? We could mistakenly have believed that the forecast was correct, only to find on retirement that it wasn't. Likewise, we would have planned financially for an income that wouldn't be forthcoming. An appropriate warning should be placed on all forecasts pending the system being rectified. I would also suggest that anyone who has received a forecast is written to in effect to highlight that their forecast may be incorrect and to recheck their figures by telephoning the DWP. They might need to man it with more staff. Each call made in the last few weeks had meant a 20-minute plus wait, which is clearly inconvenient. The staff I have spoken to are very patient, but must meet with a lot of complaints. Scroll down to find out how to ask your pension question. Steve Webb replies, "Thank you for raising this issue. It is indeed a source of concern if people cannot rely on the information that they have been sent about their state pension to be accurate." The problem arises, as you say, in the case of people who have been members of pension schemes that were contracted out of the state earnings-related pension scheme. We have dealt with the issue of contracting out in previous columns, but in essence, this will mainly affect people who are members of salary-related company pension schemes. When someone who has been contracted out reaches pension age, a calculation is made to reduce their state pension to take account of the amount that the company pension scheme has promised to pay. You may see phrases like contracted out deduction, guaranteed minimum pension, GMP, or more recently contracted out pension equivalent, COPE, used to describe elements of this calculation. The problem, as you have discovered, is that the data held by HM Revenue and Customs on these deductions does not always match up with the data held by the schemes. Many occupational pension schemes are going through a process of reconciliation of their data with HMRC. When this process began, it was estimated that around 3,000 pension schemes were affected, covering around 1.5 million workers. SMRC have set a deadline of December 2018 for this process to be complete, though there must be a risk that this deadline could slip. This suggests that it will be another year or more before people can be confident that the information in their state pension statement is accurate if they were a member of this sort of pension scheme. When HMRC receive updated data, they have to recalculate the amount of state pension to which you are entitled. As you were told on the telephone, your experience is far from unique, and I quite agree with you that there should be proper health warnings so that people do not make decisions based on unreliable information. It is unclear how many people might be receiving incorrect forecasts at this stage, but if you were contracted out during a period before 1997, you might be affected. Although this data problem is gradually being sorted out, anyone needing to know exactly where they stand as a matter of urgency should contact the DWP to ensure that the information from their company pension scheme is now up to date. Former Pensions Minister Steve Webb is This Is Money's Agony Uncle.ag is ready to answer your questions, whether you are still saving, in the process of stopping work, or juggling your finances in retirement. Since leaving the Department of Work and Pensions after the May 2015 election, Steve has joined pension firm Royal London as Director of Policy. If you would like to ask Steve a question about pensions, please email him at pensionquestions@thesysmony.co.uk. Steve will do his best to reply to your message in a forthcoming column, but he won't be able to answer everyone or correspond privately with readers. Nothing in his replies constitutes regulated financial advice. Published questions are sometimes edited for brevity or other reasons. Please include a daytime contact number with your message. This will be kept confidential and not used for marketing purposes. If Steve is unable to answer your question, you can also contact the Pensions Advisory Service, a government-backed organization which gives free help to the public. TPAS can be found here, and its number is 0300-123-1047. He receives many questions about state pension forecasts in COPE, the contracted out pension equivalent. If you are writing to Steve on this topic, he responds to a typical reader question here. It includes links to Steve's several earlier columns about state pension forecasts and contracting out, which might be helpful.